Have you ever noticed that everything you love is disappearing? Not dramatically, not suddenly, but slowly, inevitably, inexorably. Everything is dissolving. The people you love are aging. The moments you wanted to last forever are already gone. The body you inhabit is changing every second. The certainties you had are revealing themselves to be temporary. And you know this. You've always known. But you spend most of your life pretending you don't. Building, accumulating, holding on, as if quantity of possession could create permanence, as if willpower could stop time. And then something happens. A loss. A change, an inevitable reminder that nothing, absolutely nothing, stays. And you panic, because everything you built, all the security you created, was based on a lie. The lie that you could hold on, the lie that you could keep, the lie that love means permanent possession. But what if you're asking the wrong question? What if it's not, how do I make things stay, but how do I love completely, knowing nothing stays? If you're awake at 3 a.m, clutching memories, fearing changes, feeling like you're losing everything, this video is for you. Because maybe beauty isn't in what remains. Maybe beauty is exactly in what disappears. And maybe, just maybe, learning to let go is the only real way to love. Let's talk about impermanence and why it's not your enemy. There's a Buddhist truth that most people hear but don't understand. Everything is impermanent. And when you hear this for the first time, it sounds depressing. It sounds nihilistic. It sounds like a way of saying nothing matters because everything's going to end anyway. But it's not that. It's not that at all. Impermanence isn't a curse. Impermanence is the fundamental nature of reality. It's what makes life possible. It's what makes change possible. It's what makes growth, healing, transformation, all of this possible. Because if nothing changed, if everything remained fixed, you'd be stuck forever in the same pain, in the same mistake, in the same moment. But nothing stays. Everything flows. Everything changes. And in this change, in this perpetual dance of appearing and disappearing, there's life. But the ego doesn't like this. The ego wants permanence, wants security, wants guarantees that what it loves won't disappear. And so you spend your life trying to create islands of permanence in an ocean of change. You try to make relationships last forever. You try to keep your body young. You try to preserve moments through photos, videos, memories. And there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with wanting good things to last. But there's something deeply painful in believing they should last, in resisting change, in clinging to what naturally wants to flow. Because here's the truth nobody wants to hear. The more you cling, the more you suffer. Not because clinging is wrong, but because clinging is impossible. You can't hold water. You can put it in a container for a while, but eventually it will evaporate, leak, change form. And the more you try to squeeze it in your hands, the faster it escapes. And so it is with everything in life. People, moments, health, youth, certainties. Everything is like water, flowing, changing, impossible to hold. And you have a choice. You can spend your life fighting against this, trying to create permanence where there's no permanence, trying to make the river stop flowing. Or You can learn to dance with impermanence. You can learn to love completely, knowing nothing lasts. You can learn to hold with open hands, knowing everything that comes eventually goes. And when you do this, when you really do this, something extraordinary happens. You stop suffering over change, not because you stop caring, but because you stop resisting. And in the absence of resistance, there's only presence, deep presence with what is while it is. If you've ever lost something you loved, if you're afraid of losing what you have now, leave a comment. Just flow. Because recognizing that everything flows, that nothing stays, is the first step to finally stop suffering over the transient nature of life. So let's explore impermanence, not as abstract philosophy, but as a portal to living completely, loving completely, being completely present precisely because nothing lasts. Let's start with an honest question. What are you holding on to right now that you know deep down you'll have to let go? Maybe it's a person, a relationship you feel slipping away. Maybe it's youth, health, the version of yourself you used to be. Maybe it's an idea about how your life should be, a dream that didn't come true the way you hoped. Whatever it is, there's something. There's always something, because holding on is what we do. It's how we survive in a world where everything changes. We create the illusion of permanence, and we cling to it as if our life depended on it. And I understand why you hold on. Because letting go feels like death. Letting go feels like losing. Letting go feels like admitting defeat. But here's what you need to understand. You've already lost. Not because you failed, but because losing is the nature of having. The moment you have something, you've begun the process of losing it. The moment someone enters your life, the clock starts ticking until the moment they leave. Not out of cruelty, not by fate, but because that's how time works. That's how form works. Forms appear, forms change, forms disappear. And you're a form. I'm a form. Everything you love is a form, and forms aren't made to last. Forms are made to dance, to flow, to appear beautifully for a moment and then dissolve back into formlessness. But the ego doesn't accept this. The ego wants exception, wants to believe your story is different, that your love is special enough to defy the fundamental nature of reality. Yes, everything changes, but not this, not us, not now. And so you build, you make plans, you create expectations. You invest emotionally in the illusion that you can make something last forever. And for a while, it works. For a while, you believe your own story. You live as if permanence were possible. until it's not. Change comes. It always comes. Not because you did something wrong, not because you didn't hold on tight enough, but because holding on tight was never what keeps things. Never was, never could be. And when change comes, when what you are holding finally slips, you have two choices. You can collapse. You can feel betrayed by life. You can become bitter about how things should have been different. Or you can finally understand life never promised permanence. You invented that promise. You projected that expectation and then suffered when reality didn't conform to your fantasy. Because here's the brutal and liberating truth. Nothing stays. Never did, never will. The relationship you think is forever, it will change, or it will end, or you'll both change so much the relationship becomes unrecognizable. The body you inhabit is aging right this moment. Every cell is dying and being replaced. You're not the same body you were 7 years ago, literally. The moments you want to preserve, they're already gone. The second they happened, they became past. And past isn't something you can visit. It's something you can only remember, imperfectly, through the filter of memory that constantly reconstructs itself. And this isn't depressing. I know it seems like it, but it's not. It's liberating. Because when you finally accept impermanence, when you stop fighting against it, when you stop trying to create permanence where there can be no permanence, you can finally be present. You can finally love completely. You can finally experience life as it is, not as you want it to be. Because when you know something won't last, you pay attention, you savor, you're completely there, not planning the future, not clinging to the past, just here, now, with what is, while it is. And this is what makes life beautiful. Not permanence, but presence, deep, total presence with what's disappearing. There's a reason cherry blossoms are so revered in Japan. It's not just because they're beautiful. It's because they last only a few days. They bloom, and then, almost immediately, the petals begin to fall. And there's something in that brevity, that fragility, that transience, that makes them even more beautiful. The Japanese have a word for this, mono no awara. The bittersweet awareness of the impermanence of things. The gentle sadness that comes from knowing nothing lasts. And, paradoxically, the intensified beauty this awareness brings. Because when you know something is temporary, you pay attention differently. You don't take it for granted. You don't assume it will always be there. You're present with it in a way you never would be if you thought it would last forever. Think about a sunset. Why is a sunset so beautiful? Not just because of the colors, but because it's disappearing. Because you know you have only a few minutes to witness it before darkness comes. If sunset lasted hours, if the sky stayed orange and pink all day, you'd stop looking. You'd get used to it. It would lose its magic. But because it lasts only moments, because it's constantly changing, constantly disappearing, you watch. You marvel. You're completely present with the beauty while it's there. And so it is with everything. Beauty isn't despite impermanence. Beauty is because of impermanence. The reason you're moved when someone you love smiles isn't just because the smile is beautiful. It's because you know, at some deep level, that smile will disappear. That this moment will pass. That one day, maybe not too distant, you'll wish you could see that smile one more time. And this isn't morbid. This isn't pessimistic. This is awake. This is seeing life as it really is. Because when you really understand impermanence, when you live with this awareness, everything becomes precious. Not just the big things. Everything. The cup of coffee in the morning, the way light comes through the window, the sound of someone you love breathing while sleeping beside you. Trivial conversations that, if you were paying attention, weren't trivial at all. Everything becomes sacred because everything is disappearing and you know it. And instead of making you suffer, it wakes you up. There's a Zen story about a master who was admiring a precious ceramic bowl. A student asked, "Master, why do you admire this bowl so deeply?" And the master replied, "I see it as already broken." The student was confused. "But it's not broken. It's perfect." And the master smiled. "Exactly. Because I see it's already broken, I can appreciate it completely now. I don't expect it to last forever. I don't cling to it. I simply enjoy its beauty while it's here." This is wisdom. Not seeing things as you want them to be, but seeing them as they are, temporary, fragile, precious precisely because they won't last. And when you see life this way, when you really see this way, you stop wasting time. You stop postponing love. You stop waiting for the perfect moment to be happy. Because you realize there is no perfect moment. There's only this moment. And this moment is already dissolving into the next, and then the next. And if you're not present now, if you're waiting for some imaginary later, you're missing the only life you have. So the beauty of the ephemeral isn't about learning to accept loss. It's about what happens is you kill it. Think about a relationship where one person can't let the other go. where there's attachment so intense, so suffocating, there's no room to breathe, no room for growth, no room to be. What started as love becomes prison. What was light becomes heavy. What was joy becomes duty. And ironically, exactly because you held on so tight, exactly because you tried to force permanence, you destroy the thing you were trying to preserve. Because healthy relationships require space, require freedom, require the possibility of choice. And when you hold on so tight, you remove choice. When you make the other your property, when you demand guarantees nobody can give, you've transformed love into fear. You've transformed connection into control. And eventually, inevitably, the person either leaves or stays, but becomes a shadow of who they were. And it's not just in relationships, it's in everything. When you cling to youth, when you fight desperately against aging, you don't stay young. You become bitter. You become obsessive. You waste the years you have wishing for the years that are gone. When you attach to how things used to be, when you live in the past, when you refuse to accept life has changed, you don't preserve the past. You kill the present. When you hold on to grudges, when you refuse to forgive, when you carry resentment like it's treasure, you're not protecting yourself, you're poisoning yourself. Holding on has a cost, and the cost is your life, your capacity to be present, your capacity to experience joy, your capacity to love freely. Because when your hands are closed, when you're gripping so tight to what you already have, you can't receive anything new. You can't give anything freely. You can't flow with life. You become stuck, frozen, living in a time that doesn't exist anymore, or fearing a future that hasn't arrived, and completely absent from the only moment that really exists, now. And I know why you hold on. I understand. You hold on because you're afraid. Afraid of loss, afraid of change, that if you let go, you'll be left with nothing. But here is the truth you need to hear. You can't lose what's real. You can only lose what's temporary. And if something is temporary, you've already lost it anyway. It's just a matter of time. So why waste the time you have gripping? Why waste your energy trying to make the river stop flowing? Because here's what happens when you let go, when you really let go. Your hands open. And at first, it feels like you're losing everything. It feels like you're falling. It feels like there will be nothing to hold you. But then something extraordinary happens. You realize you're not falling. You realize you never needed to hold on. You realize life holds you, always has. And when you're no longer trying to control, when you're no longer resisting the flow, you begin to dance. You begin to flow. You begin to experience life not as something to be possessed, but as something to be lived. And then, ironically, you receive more. Not because you accumulated, but because you let go, because you created space, because you stopped transforming love into attachment. Relationships deepen when there's freedom. Joy increases when there's acceptance. Beauty intensifies when there's awareness of transience. But you'll never know this as long as you keep
holding on, as long as you keep living with closed hands, as long as you keep trying to make permanent what is, by its very nature, impermanent. So how do you love knowing everything will end? How do you care deeply knowing nothing lasts? The answer is you hold with open hands. Holding with open hands means being completely present with something or someone without demanding it stays. It means loving totally without making love a prison. It means experiencing fully without clinging to the experience. It's the difference between "you are mine" and "I am here with you." It's the difference between "don't leave" and "while you're here, I'm completely present." Think about how you hold a bird. If you hold with closed hands tight, trying to guarantee it won't fly, you'll suffocate it, you'll kill it, you'll destroy the very thing you loved it, its freedom, its lightness, its capacity to fly.
But if you hold with open hands, if you create safe space where it can land but also leave, something magical happens. It stays. Not because it's forced, but because it's choice. And if it leaves, you didn't lose anything, because you never owned it. You just had the privilege of its presence for a while. And so it is with everything in life. People aren't yours to keep. Moments aren't yours to preserve. Nothing is yours in the sense of permanent ownership. But everything is yours in the sense of total experience, of complete presence, of unconditional love. And there's a huge difference between these two types of having. When you hold with closed hands, you live in fear. Fear of losing, fear of change, fear that one day you'll wake up and what you love won't be there anymore. And this fear, this constant fear, prevents you from really being present. You're so busy trying to hold on that you never really experience. You're so worried about the future, you miss the now. But when you hold with open hands, when you let go of the need for permanence, fear dissolves. Not because you stop caring, but because you stop demanding guarantees life never promised to give. And in that absence of fear, in that deep acceptance of impermanence, you can finally be present. You can finally love completely. You can finally live fully. Because you're no longer divided between present and future. You're no longer with part of you here and another trying to control what comes next. You're all here now, with what is while it is. And this doesn't mean you don't make plans. Doesn't mean you don't invest in relationships. Doesn't mean you live without commitment. It means your plans are flexible. Your investments are without attachment. Your commitments are based on free choice, not fear of loss. You commit not because you're trying to guarantee the future, but because now, in this moment, this is what you want to do. And if tomorrow changes, if circumstances change, if you or the other changes, you'll navigate that change with the same presence, with the same openness, with the same acceptance that everything flows. And there's something deeply liberating in this. There's something deeply loving in this. Because when you love someone with open hands, you're saying, I love you not because I need you to complete me. I love you because I choose to be present with you. And if one day you need to go, if one day life takes us in different directions, I'll let you go with gratitude, not resentment. And paradoxically, this kind of love, this love without attachment, is the only love that really lasts. Not in the sense that form lasts, but in the sense that essence never dies. Because love based on attachment dies when form changes. But love based on presence, love based on deep recognition, love based on being completely with what is, that love transcends form. That love doesn't depend on specific person remaining in your life in specific form. That love is something you are, not something you have. If you understand this, if something in you recognizes this truth, share this video, not for me, but because there's someone you love who's holding on too tight, who's suffering because they're trying to make permanent what's temporary. And they need to hear there's another way, that it's possible to love completely without clinging, that it's possible to be present without demanding permanence. So what remains when you let go? When you accept impermanence? When you stop trying to make last what naturally wants to flow? What remains is gratitude. Not the superficial gratitude of automatic thank you, but deep gratitude. Gratitude that comes from realizing nothing was guaranteed, that everything was gift, and that each moment you had with someone or something you love was grace. Because you didn't deserve it. Not in the sense you're not worthy, but in the sense nothing in life is deserved. Nothing is owed. Nothing is guaranteed. You weren't born with the right to specific relationship. You weren't born.
And when you live with this awareness, when you really live with this awareness, everything changes. You stop complaining about what you don't have. You stop resenting what you lost. You stop demanding life be different from what it is. And you begin to appreciate deeply, completely, each moment, each person, each experience, not because they're perfect, but because they're yours for now, in this moment. And this moment is all you really have. There's a practice that changed my life, and it's simple. Every night before sleeping, I ask, if I knew tomorrow everything I love will disappear, how would I live today? And the answer's always the same. I'd live with more presence. I'd love more openly. I'd say the words I've been holding back. I'd give the hugs I've been postponing. I'd be completely here, completely present, completely alive. But here's the truth. You don't know if tomorrow everything you love will be there. You don't know if you'll be there because you don't have guarantees. Never did, never will. So why live as if you did? Why postpone love? Why postpone presence?
Why postpone life? Because that's what we do, isn't it? We live as if we had infinite time, as if there was always tomorrow to say I love you, always next week to make that call, always next year to realize that dream. And then something happens. Someone dies. Relationship ends. Opportunity passes, and you realize too late. You wasted time. You wasted presence. You wasted the only life you have waiting for perfect moment that never came. But the perfect moment doesn't exist. There's only this moment. And this moment is already dissolving. And if you're not here now, if you're waiting, if you're postponing, you're missing everything. So gratitude for the temporary isn't about being grateful when good things happen. It's about being grateful precisely because you know they won't last. It's about looking at the person you love and feeling deeply that one day they won't be here. And instead of making you panic, instead of making you cling, it makes you be present. It makes you notice the small details, the way they laugh, the way light catches their face, the way they look at you when they think you're not watching. It makes you stop waiting for a future, better version of them and love the version that's here now, imperfect, real, temporary. And when you live like this, when you really live like this, loss changes completely. When something or someone goes, when the inevitable change happens, when what you loved is no longer in the form it was, you don't collapse. Not because you don't care, but because you were present. You were completely there. You loved totally. And there's no regret. There's only gratitude. Deep, immense gratitude for having had the privilege of experiencing this.
Even if it briefly, even if it didn't last, even if it changed. Because you understand, finally, that duration isn't what makes something valuable. Presence is. And you were present completely. And this gratitude, this deep gratitude for the temporary, is the only real way to honor what you loved. Not trying to preserve it, not trying to keep it alive artificially through memories you revisit obsessively, but allowing it to have been what it was, fully, and then allowing it to go graciously. And carrying with you not attachment, but love. Love that doesn't need specific form to exist. Love that transcends physical presence. Love that's something you are, not something you have. And that love that doesn't cling, is the only love that never dies, because it doesn't depend on anything external. It's just who you are when you finally stop resisting the flow. If you're here at 3 a.m, if you're holding on to something you know you need to let go, if you're afraid of losing what you love, I want you to understand something. You're going to lose. You're already losing. Right this moment, everything you love is changing, aging, moving toward its inevitable end. And you can spend the rest of your life fighting this. You can spend each day trying to hold on to what naturally wants to flow. You can live with closed hands, gripping, controlling, trying to create permanence where there can be no permanence. Or you can let go. Not because you stop caring, but because you finally understand real love isn't about possession. Real love is about presence. It's about being completely here, completely present, completely alive with what is, while it is. And yes, this means living with awareness everything will end. This means feeling the bittersweet reality each moment is precious precisely because it won't last. But this awareness isn't curse, it's gift. It's what wakes you up. It's what makes you stop wasting time. It's what makes you love completely, live completely, be completely present. Because when you know nothing lasts, you stop postponing. You stop waiting for perfect moment. You stop saving your love, your presence, your life for some imaginary later. You give everything now. Because now is all you have. And it always was. So, next time you feel fear of losing something or someone you love, don't fight the fear. Don't try to convince yourself everything will be okay. Don't make promises nobody can make. Just breathe and let that fear wake you up. Let it remind you what you have is temporary. And let that reminder inspire you to be present. Really present. Look at the person you love as if it were the last time, because one day it will be, and you don't know when. Experience this moment completely, because it will never come back. Not exactly like this. Not with these specific conditions, not with this specific you. Love without fear of losing, because you're already going to lose. So why waste the time you have with fear? Everything you hold will slip away. Everything you love will change. Everything you know will eventually disappear. But there's beauty in this. There's freedom in this. There's love in this. Because when you finally let go, when you finally resist the flow, you realize you never lost anything real. You only lost temporary forms. And what's real, what you really are, what love really is, can never be lost, because it was never based on form. It was always based on presence. And presence, true presence, is eternal. Not in the sense that it lasts forever, but in the sense that it's outside time. Always was, always will be. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing these words, this transmission, this moment, knowing it too, will pass. And maybe that's the most beautiful thing of all, that we met here in this ephemeral space, in this transient early morning, and shared something real, something that doesn't need to last to matter. Something that's precious precisely because it's brief. In the end, all you can do is hold with open hands. Love completely, knowing nothing stays. Be totally present, knowing each moment is disappearing. And when you do this, when you really do this, you realize there was never anything to hold on to. There was never anything to lose. There was only this moment. This precious, fragile, infinitely beautiful moment appearing and disappearing like a wave on the ocean. And you're not the wave. You're the ocean. And the ocean never loses anything. It only allows forms to appear and disappear on its surface, knowing everything returns to its source eventually. See you at 3 in the morning, in the space where everything is temporary, but nothing is lost, where everything changes, But nothing really goes away. Because in the end, everything that appears just returns to the silence from which it came. And that silence, that vast and eternal ocean, is you. Always was, always will be.